Universal Studios Hollywood and Universal Studios Orlando. Same company, same IP, but in two different states. Some of you guys have been fortunate enough to go to both of these. Some of you have only gone to one, and some of you guys are just gonna go ahead and learn about the parks through me. But I'm here to tell you that these parks are most definitely not the same. Now, I know some of you guys are asking, why not? They have the same brand and some of the same rides at both parks. Well, that's what we're gonna get into today. I'll be showing you guys 3 prime examples between Universal Studios Hollywood and Universal Studios Orlando, so you guys know what to expect when you go. And go ahead and click that bell and make sure to like and subscribe so you guys can go ahead and check out way more awesome amusement park content, okay? Alrighty, let's get into it. Revenge of the Mummy, a Universal Studios classic starring our main man, Brendan Fraser. The Revenge ride is also a classic when it comes to the Universal parks because there's no way you just don't get on this ride. Even by comparing the two parks, anyone will agree if you don't hop on these rides, you straight up just wasted a ticket. Now, to me, when comparing the rides, I like to look at 2 things: line ambiance and the ride itself. You see, the fun part about comparing these two is they differ in such a big way. The biggest advantage Universal Orlando will always have is more space. Because Universal Orlando has more space compared to Universal Hollywood, they're able to make their waiting queues and their rides longer and more immersive. So let's take a look at both places' waiting queue. Now, one thing I do enjoy about UH's waiting area is the ambiance. They not only have projection video for us to see when we're inside, but they even include little things that would fit the world of discovering an ancient tomb. Like the stick your hand in here part where a gust of wind will shoot out and jump scare you. Instant classic. Now, looking at the waiting area for UO's waiting portion, I really enjoy how it switches from an average line showing, the set pieces to actually transitioning to being inside the temple. Now, when it's coming to the rides, I'm not gonna lie, they're pretty different. Hollywood's ride has a solid beginning with a character talking with you before he's consumed by insects. You get to see the villain of the story before he starts spitting some fire bars, of course. And then you blast off flying moments later. They surprise you with a stop later, and then you actually start riding backwards from where you just came from. And that's basically the end of the ride. Very to the point, still very fun. However, when we compare this dope ride to its Orlando counterpart, it takes the immersion of a ride to a whole other level. So same beginning, but this time instead of a video playing, we get a cool animatronic show, which to me feels more personable. On top of that, instead of a quick synopsis straight to the ride, we get hit with the backwards part immediately. It takes some more storytelling before we even get to blast off. Not only is this ride longer, the areas it takes us to is way more thorough than its twin in Hollywood. Like, you stop at this area where it breaks the 4th wall, making it seem like your ride ends before the ceiling is just consumed with fire and you take off again. Like, what? Listen, I love both rides at both locations, mainly because it's Universal's fastest ride, especially at Hollywood, until Fast and the Furious roller coaster comes out. But it's quite the difference between them two. Harry Potter, the GOAT, the man, the thing that put Universal back on the map when they didn't know what else to bring. Both Harry Potter rides are absolute beasts, no pun intended, at each of their own respective parks. And my favorite part about them both is that they are both completely different from their counterpart. Now, I could sit here and try to go ahead and explain the Hippogriff ride since they're literally the same ride at both parks, but why? Starting with the ride queue of Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, this queue was the greatest thing I have ever witnessed in my life. Look, I know all of us have sat here wishing and dying and praying to go inside of this castle. I know it. I know you guys have. And so to be able to actually not only walk in the castle and go through different classrooms and areas, but also see the paintings talking and interacting with each other is so amazing to see. Meanwhile, back in Orlando's Hagrid's Magical Creature motorbike ride, that is a mouthful. This is so unique and different compared to the one in Hollywood, since it looks like you're entering into the forest area of Hogwarts. All those Hobbit-looking homes you get to finally explore and walk through just takes you into a complete different area of the Hogwarts world. Now, when talking about the rides, these two are completely different on even a roller coaster scale. Universal Hollywood likes to use its famous elements of screens and innovative engineering to create a full flying experience in the Hogwarts universe. Meanwhile, Orlando uses its advantage of land and roller coaster ingenuity to make a one-of-a-kind Hogwarts ride. when comparing them both and how they immerse you separately, we just come to the conclusion that Universal is just built different. Jurassic Park, literally in my top 10 favorite franchises ever created. The Jurassic experience at Universal Parks to me is pivotal for it to just even feel complete. And in my honest opinion, I think this is Universal Studios' biggest IP. You guys are so gonna be in the comments fighting me for saying that. Now, sadly, when it comes to the queues, Jurassic Ride in Hollywood is not much. I think mainly because it's one of their oldest rides, even though they have just recently updated it with the new Jurassic World movies and intertwining that with the parks. It still just lacks the immersion when you're waiting in the line. Now, however, Velocicoaster, that's my ride right there. I will wholeheartedly say that this is my favorite ride ever. Now, the ride queue for this one is absolutely elite, okay? Immersion, check. In tune with the movies, check. Futuristic and has a 5-hour wait, check. Now, this does beat the Hollywood one solely for the fact that it's just newer and they have more space, thus allowing themselves to be able to do more. But these bad boys are elite when it comes to the actual ride. I like to look at these two as elements, basically. One is the ocean dinosaur and the other is the air dinosaurs. Let me explain. In the Hollywood location, we are not only surrounded by water, but are even introduced to the water species dinosaurs in the very beginning. But then the ride decides to take it to another level by showing us a full scale of both T-Rexes. I bet that alone cost them $20 million. This is right before the gut-wrenching drop that happens that absolutely engulfs you in dinosaur water. Meanwhile, at Orlando, this ride is really following the velociraptors that Chris Pratt's character Owen Grady trains. This ride is pure speed. So much speed, I couldn't even think what was happening. I was just flying. I assumed this is what it's like to fly as Superman. But then they drive the ride up a notch, increasing the speed even faster mid-ride. And that's when you start being fully in the air. I could not think while I was on that ride, which is a good thing. Universal Orlando and Universal Studios Hollywood both have amazing rides that anybody would enjoy. I just really appreciate how both parks are basically their own brand new experiences. Even if you feel like you've done that adventure before, you can go to them and feel like you've never done it whatsoever. It's a different take, it's a different storyline, and I think that alone gives you leg room to want to travel and see what's different about both. But that's gonna be it for this video. I will see you guys in the lines. Adios.